All right, season 3, Dirty 30 Pod, off-season edition, episode 1. What's up, boys? Devi, Christian, how we doing?
Whew, back and ready to roll, brother.
Back in black.
It's going,
We are. Hey.
going to be another good year for sure. Um, yeah, today's agenda we'll kind of go through like what's on my brain, right? We'll kind of each have a segment here throughout the off season, just like talking about random stuff about the league, keepers, just players in general. We'll review the first 3 trades that were made kind of throughout the year, right? There's been several more, right? I think we're at 9 already, but we'll review the first 3 and then we'll go through the list, the ranking of the keepers, who we would like best compared to like who we would like worst out of the 20 keepers. So that sound like a plan? Sound all right to everyone?
Sounds like a plan.
Sounds great.
Cool. What's on my brain? Just kind of three random things that I've just kind of been thinking about a bunch on the off season. Number one is this is our first year that like we've had players kept at a 6th round value because they've been picked up. Right. So we got Puka this year as a 6th round value. We got Kyron this year as a 6th round value, and they've both been kind of picked up. So just kind of thought about that the other day. I was like, oh, it seems fair, right? But just kind of wondering like what everyone else thinks. Does that 6th round value kind of seem fair for a pickup?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'll
Yes,
start. I
yes.
I think so. I mean, like
Yeah.
Kyron especially, just because like I kind of value, even though we do half point, I kind of value the running back position a little more than the receiver, just because
Yep.
if you look at the running back position as a whole, like even starting from the top, like the difference between CMC and let's say Bijan or Brees or Jameer Gibbs or whoever you have in that range, the difference between CMC and that next player is such a huge drop where you're talking like Tyreek and CD are like neck and neck. And like Chase could be in that conversation. St. Brown could be in that conversation. So like I like though that you have to because like the 6th round pick, like there are good six
Mm-hmm.
rounders out there.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're it's not like we're giving you a keeper for a 10th rounder.
Nope.
Like you have to use it, and I'm glad that people are because
Yeah.
obviously it's paying off. So I like it.
I got no notes, man. I think it's a fair price, right? Like
Yep.
Puka in the 6 is like it's good, right? But
Yeah,
it's not
dude,
great. It's not
he's
great by any means, you know.
like he's going like at the turn or early
Yeah.
second if he's not getting hurt, you know?
Yep, for sure.
Yep.
Debbie, anything to add?
No, I mean, I think, yeah, kind of like Christian alluded to it. It's, 6th round or whatever. And, there's not scrubs going into 6. Like, you're going to have to make some decisions and like, do I really like this keeper enough to keep him there? And,
Yeah.
obviously sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. So
Yeah.
yeah, nice find.
Yeah, I think we got that one right. Next thing that's on my brain, I think like at the draft, we should definitely vote on like keepers being kept wherever the fuck they want. Right? If you got 2 2nd round picks and you want to keep 2 2nd round keepers, like at this point, I'm kind of cool with it, you know. Just another thing that's been kind of on my brain. I don't know if you guys feel differently, if you guys are kind of into it, against it, like we could
I
talk about it quickly.
Yeah, Dev, I'll let you go with this one first.
I mean, I don't think I really have a hard take on
No
it.
strong
You
opinion.
know,
Yeah.
yeah, I really don't. I don't think. Yeah, I don't.
Yep.
I don't
Yep.
really
Yeah.
get.
Me neither.
I would say like if you have 2 2nd round picks and like because obviously you acquired that 2nd round pick somehow, some
Right.
way.
Right.
You should be able to use the keeper on whichever 2nd round pick that you want as long as it's yours at the time. So like I'm cool with like for instance, I have 2 2nd round picks. If I had Jameer Gibbs, I feel like I should be able to use him with whichever 2nd round pick I want.
Yeah. And that
Like
and that
that's
goes with what I'm saying, right? Like
Yep,
you
I
have the
agree with.
pick,
Yeah,
you're able to keep them. I think it's just fair, right? I don't know why we were nitpicking 2 years ago.
Yep,
Yep.
exactly. I agree.
I'm with you. We've gotten to the point where it's just like, just let the guy do his thing. You know, I don't know why we're nitpicking anymore. Last one I'm curious about. I think there are some stud tight ends this year. Kind of wondering where they're going. right? Hey, we got a couple keepers already. We got Laborda, we got Kincaid, but I'm curious where like Kelsey, Andrews, McBride, Kittle, kind of those guys go this year. So just kind of all things kind of on my brain. Do I want to rock stud tight end? Do I want to find the fucking Brock Bowers or like Taysom Hill,
Diamond in the rough.
shit, diamond in the rough shit, like I don't know. All kind of depends on where they go. So it's kind of the last thing on my brain. Like I said, we've had 9 trades already. All right, we're just gonna go through 3, right? To give this league credit, I feel like sometimes like there's only like 9 trades throughout the entire year, right? And we had 9 trades by like August 1st. So pretty sweet, pretty sweet.
Working hard, no off season.
No, working hard. I'll kind of go through all these trades and just tell me if anything kind of stands out here. First trade was between me and Craig. We swapped draft order selection, right? So I had the first selection, right? I won the end of the year kind of tournament, and I traded that with Craig and Jalen Hurts, and I got his 8th for a 15th. The next trade was Tyler and Christian, and it was for Jaden Reed, and it was a 10th for a 14th. And then the third one was Tanner gets the number 1 overall pick, just that pick. And Tyler goes back 2 spots to the third, and it was a 11th for a 15th swap.
Mm-hmm.
Devi, anything standing out there? Everything kind of seemed fair. Any trade you want to talk about specifically?
No, I think people, first off, the 9 trades or whatever, that's just
Outrageous.
it's so much fun just seeing, all the moves being made or whatever, because I'm in a few leagues and there's some where nothing happens whatsoever. And again, it is what it is. Every league's different, but yeah, keeping things exciting. You like to see all the moves. It's fun. I think people like moving around the board and getting to certain spots that they want, like, Tanner moving up to 1 and thinking, who's going to be there and who you just kind of how they're wanting or expecting their roster breakdown to go. And but yeah, off the top of my head, all of that kind of flew over my head. So with the numbers, not gonna lie.
All good. I
Still
dig it.
trying to get onto one specifically. I don't know. I think they're fair.
I think you touched base on like the Tanner Tyler one, right? Like going from 3 to 1, just like
Right.
added a little bit of sugar. So I think that's sweet.
Yep.
Christian, anything jump out to you?
Yeah, I'll kind of start like back to front, so like later to earlier, but
Sure.
like I mean, I do kind of wonder if he regrets going from 1 to 3, because in my opinion, like I do think there is a big difference between Tyreek and, let's say, CD or Chase, or let's say CD and
Sure.
Tyreek, so I'd be curious to know that. I still like the move that I made, giving up that pick and getting Jaden Reed. I mean, obviously, like Love has been, he got paid. He's been talked about as like a possible MVP guy. So Jaden Reed, I think he's kind of in that mix of like being their number 1 guy. So, getting him for a 15th rounder, I felt like that was worth it.
Easily. Yeah.
But I do think on the other side, like he made a good deal as well, because he wasn't him. And then like with that first trade, I think you said it was you. So like, my question is, do you regret getting rid of the number 1 selection and passing up on Tyreek or CD or whoever?
Not really. I think like the extra 8th rounder is nice. And I kind of like where I'm at, right? Like
Yeah.
people know who I am, right? I'm going to.
Well, and now you have 2 first-round picks.
I don't. That's a later trade that will eventually.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I did, and then I didn't.
You
But
did. Yeah, correct.
I did, and then I didn't. That's a lot of moves to talk about ahead here. But
no doubt.
yeah, dude, I think the Jaden Reed one stuck out to me too. I think it's like, hey, I'm gonna throw a little bit of draft capital at it, right, to see if like this dude takes a 2nd-year step, which is a bet that I would make as well.
Right.
Yeah. And like we're so past the point of like someone made a stupid trade and someone made a good trade, right? Like
Yeah,
they're all just like, I get
Jones first round pick
they're
days.
all just like, I get it, man.
Yeah.
Like it's like, all right, I kind of understand where this person came from. So
Do your thing. Yeah.
cool. Let's get into the whole reason why we're here. Gosh, let's try to share my screen. Here we go.
It looks like it's working to me. Yep.
Cool.
There it is.
Make it a little bigger. If I remember right, this was 3 years ago. Christian kind of went out on a limb. He made his own keeper list to say, right? And people kind of got,
Typically didn't talk about it this year because I knew it would be brought up in the pod.
oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah. So we're gonna get into it. Christian, where did you start? Like making
So
this list of 20, where'd you start?
yeah, I mean, I think when I look at like the value, right? Because like we're going on value, like,
Yes.
and I think there is a little bit of like a discrepancy where it's like, yes, there's value, but you also have to have a good player,
Yep,
right?
yep,
Like
yep.
you can get value anywhere, but you also have to have a good player. And I
Mhm.
think that getting a player like Amon-Ra St. Brown, and what kills me is because I'm pretty sure I had him at one point in my
Oh yeah. Oh
and
yeah.
I think I traded him to, I don't know what I traded him for,
Just let
but
him go, bro.
yeah, it's sad to me because like I mean, realistically, you could make a case that like if he was thrown back in the pool, he'd be the third overall pick. You
Mhm.
know, like, I mean, you could make a case for him over Chase or Jefferson. Like, I mean,
Yep.
he's that good. And getting a seventh round pick, I mean, it clearly looks like we're all unanimous on that one. So
Yeah. I like it. He was like one of my where I started, right? I actually started from the bottom though.
mm.
I don't know about anyone else.
I think the bottom also was pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you, I mean, like, and just to, and I won't take any thunder away from like Devin what he's gonna say, but I mean, like quarterbacks we've seen, like I kept it. I mean, like we've all entertained the idea of keeping a quarterback, but the
Mhm.
only quarterback that was ever worth keeping was like Allen when he was a 15th round pick.
Yeah.
And like, but other than that, like Hurts as a seventh, yeah, like
I,
he's a good player, but I don't love him, you know. So
if I remember right, there was like 3 or 4 teams that like rode this ride last year, right?
yeah,
And like everyone kind of regretted it. Hertz was decent, right? He was fine, right? But what did he like stand out as a keeper? Like not really, right?
No.
So
right.
yeah, I think it was Hertz and then the 2 first round picks just were pretty easy for me. Not that I hate Bijan Robinson, not that I hate CMC, right? It's just it's math, right? It's value, right? It's
Sure.
CMC being kept at 9 compared to like him going at 1 is just like a difference of 8 picks, you know?
Yep.
So that's where I started. Debbie, where'd you start? Kind of similar spots, different spots?
Yeah, I was kind of all over the place as expected.
Nice.
I kind of just wrote them all down and um I picked away at the top a little bit, picked away at the bottom, finished off in the middle, completely changed everything around because I hated it. Went back to what I did in the beginning and then switched it again. You know, I was kind of all over the place because like we were talking in before, Matt was just like essentially this is, these are all good players. And
Oh yeah.
then you kind of just between value. I think one thing with mine that I really heavily weighed on is just how much I like some of these guys. If I like JT more than Kyron, so that's why he's high. They're closer in value. So there's certain, and I didn't do that with everything, but there's certain ones where that kind of did come into play. You know,
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fair, guys. I do. All seems fair to me. What stands out? What is like one thing that kind of like stands out amongst everyone's
So
elephant in the room, Christian. I'm sorry, I got to cut you off because like
yeah, you
I
do, please.
need we were talking about the bottom, and you have my guy Dalton Kincaid down there.
Mhm.
And he just really made me sad seeing him down so low.
Yeah, no, I get that. Um, I was surprised to see you have him ahead of Laporta, honestly. Knowing okay, because like the way I look at it, like rookie tight ends, they don't do shit. Like I think like it's like known that rookie tight ends just aren't productive, right? So Laporta's year last year was such an anomaly. And I truly do believe like Goff is like kind of a safety blanket guy. And I think that's why he likes Amon-Ra so much, because he's an underneath guy. And I
Oh
think
yeah.
that Laporta being such a big body, like Iowa tight end, like how could you not love that? So I love Laporta over Kincaid, but like my thing with Kincaid is I really don't know what to make of that Buffalo offense. Like, it's so ugly. Like, a Josh Allen will be good. Like, he's going to produce. He's going to be a good quarterback. But like, I don't love Kincaid just because like I was super high on him as a rookie, but like I don't know. Like when I look at the bottom of the list, Hurts, Bijan, we're all in the same there. But
Mhm.
like getting the value of CMC, and granted, I took CMC with a grain of salt, knowing he was going to be picked at the 10th pick. So like knowing he was going to be later in the first round. So
Sure,
it's not like taking CMC one and keeping him. You know what I'm
sure.
saying? Like where Kincaid, I just don't know. And he's got a little injury history. I respect the thought on it, but I think there's been some glaring discrepancies between us, with even Gibbs, you know, like
Yeah,
Gibbs was fourth on both of your guys' list, fourth from the bottom, and he's middle tier for me only because I feel like Gibbs would be like the first few picks in the first round. And I think when you can get a guy like that, when you can get a guy that in Gibbs who is like a 1,500 total yard, 13 touchdown, 14 touchdown type guy, I think that he is worth that second round keep. I do. I do.
yeah.
That makes sense to me.
The guy that stands out for me, who's all over the place, is Kyron, right? Christian has him at third overall. I have him maybe like 7 or 8, and Devi, somewhere in the middle, right? Bottom half, actually, if you kind of look at that, right? So I get it, right? I get like, hey, Kyron last year was RB2, RB3, right? Like as healthy, he's the man, he's on a great offense. That's kind of why I had him kind of where I have him. Debbie, why do you hate Kyron, dude?
Well, I think everyone, it's no secret that I'm a Kyron hater. I don't know. I just
Just
he
just don't
does
believe
he
it.
just never
Well,
excites me, and I just don't.
they have some good rookies there too.
They do. And I'm not letting that weigh entirely into my decision making. But again, it kind of goes back to us saying earlier, like all the guys above them, I much, like them that much better. But I don't know. And I hope I'm wrong again, because, he proved me wrong last year. Dude was a stud. And I think I'm jumping back on the train where just like, I don't really give a shit about him, and I don't think he's going to be great.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah, I always appreciate the list. I think the list is awesome. We'll get this kind of printed off and sent out to everyone just to kind of like have their opinion and their thought here, right?
That's always the fun part. Yeah.
That's always the fun part, right? Like tell us what you would change. Tell us what would be different.
Yes.
Um,
So I do have a quick question. I know this is off script.
sure.
But that's the best part of this show.
Hell yeah.
But do you
Absolutely.
keep her in mind that like you would have kept if you were this?
Oh, that was I'm glad you said I had that question written down and forgot to ask it.
That,
Devonta
I,
Smith not
I
being
don't
kept.
know like off the top of my head. Like I don't know off the top of my
I got one. Devonta Smith not being kept.
head.
And
Devon,
I don't know if I would throw JT back or not. I'd probably keep the players Marcus is keeping, but if I were someone else, I would trade for Devonta Smith.
sure, right. Oh, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I have considered making trades, but like with the whole Jaden Reed thing,
Mhm.
like
Let it play.
I hands like I kind of handcuffed myself.
Yeah.
You know, like I really wanted to make a trade for a couple guys like Rashad White. I think Rashad White's a great like opportunity to trade for, but
Yeah.
I don't have that ammunition anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I dig it. I'm kind of where I'm at trade wise too. Devi probably the same, right? We've
You
all
never
made
know.
we've
You
all
never.
made about 3 or 4 already. So cool. Next week we are doing AFC players that we kind of like, dislike, and kind of wild card. We'll pick either Christian or Devi's brain. I haven't really decided that yet, and we'll review 3 more trades. So sounds good, boys. See you guys next week. All right.
Pick you later.
Later.